Greetings everyone and welcome to a new first taste for the channel, where today we're going to be checking out the open world survival crafter, Planet Crafter. Now, if in the first couple of seconds of this video you are compelled to let me know that you're getting some pretty strong deja vu effects going on, there are some very strong vibes of familiarity with this game. That's probably because you've played Subnautica. Now, this game, as far as I'm aware, has nothing to do with Subnautica nor its devs, but there are some very strong parallels to be drawn between the game. But if, like quite a few people that I know, you wanted to get into Subnautica but couldn't because of the mild horror themes, and in your particular case the mild horror themes were the water, no shame, there's actually quite a lot of people that were like, I love the look of Subnautica, but the idea of playing in, vast bodies of water and possibly drowning or being eaten by sea life literally gives me nightmares. This is possibly a game for you, as whilst there are still strong exploration elements, we can see a crashed spaceship over there, and there's a bit of mystery to this game that unfolds with messages we'll cover in just a second. I'm here to give you the very good news that pretty much until very late game there isn't even any water on the planet, and I don't think there's ever going to really be any significant underwater segments. This is very much a game about terraforming. I say terraforming with strong air quotes, as whilst we will be changing the biosphere of this planet, we are literally a one-man terraforming band. This is anything but hard science. But with all of that said and done, let's go ahead and check out our mission objective. Welcome to your assigned planet. Your mission is to advance the terraformation process of this world. Generate oxygen, heat, and pressure to do so. First, reach 175,000 Ti, that's terraforming index, and create a blue atmosphere. The year is 3058, and we've been sent here by Sentinel Corp. Now, bear in mind the date. That's actually going to be quite useful as we find different messages all over the planet. But we've got a handy-dandy little list of things to start working on. Up in the top right, we can see our terraforming index, 0 right now. Up in the top left, we've got craft a backpack, oxygen tank. That seems quite reasonable since we've got 100 oxygen units, and as you've probably already seen, those drop rather quickly. So let's actually see what we're going to need to do any of that. So for a backpack, we're going to need iron. For the oxygen tank, we're going to need iron, cobalt, and magnesium. Thankfully, these are out here in spades. Now, as far as I've been able to tell, the game is procedurally generated, though the map is sculpted, but the position of resources is largely procedural, except in a couple of set pieces, such as the crashed spaceships and the like. You're more than likely going to find the same things in there as everyone else, but out in the world, you're just going to have to get out there and actually hunt around for items. Now, it's becoming night, sadly, so it's going to get a little bit dark, but it never gets too dark unless you're in a cave, or indeed one of the aforementioned spaceships, in which case you really need a source of light, because black as midnight, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch, I'm afraid, in the depths of those structures. Let's go ahead and grab the backpack, probably the most important thing that we're ever going to have, and then follow that up with the oxygen. I know, I just said the backpack's the most important thing. Don't pretend that you wouldn't rate the backpack above your ability to breathe. Let's go ahead and top that off, though. And this will allow me to get out there and actually start making use of my backpack and gathering more things. Now, that we've got that, we need to build the construction chip, and from there we're going to be able to start building the base, which is going to be very important. For the construction chip, we need a little bit more magnesium, but I would also like, we've actually got all of the silicon we need, so that's perfect. So we need 2 extra magnesium, because I would like to build the deconstruction chip, because where there is construction, there is also going to be deconstruction, or at least if you're me and you like to faff around and get things just so when you're positioning them. And here we go. Okay, so construction chip first, and then we will follow that up with a deconstruction chip, and we will load both of those into our spacesuit, which will give us some new features. If you look at the cycling icon on my multi-tool there, over in the right. Now, right now, our ability to construct things is somewhat limited, though it's more limited by the fact that almost everything is going to require iron, and I am going to be a little bit fastidious in that I don't want to just slap down a habitation module onto what may well be unstable ground. So I'm going to have to get my gathering boots on and get out there and grab quite a lot of this. But the construction in this game is incredibly comfortable to do. You just slap down the blueprint. Again, if you've played these sorts of games before, I imagine this style of construction is no no stranger to you. I'm going to get a nice solid foundations for us to build a habitation module and perhaps a couple of other things, and I shall be with you shortly. Alright then, through the power of editing, seconds for you, minutes for me, because I decided to move everything around, we have a stable platform. Let's just make a way up to said stable platform, and boom, there we go. Perfect. Now we can pop down our first habitation module, or rather living compartment. The first of many, many, I should imagine. We'll pop it right there and just make sure that that looks okay from that side. It does indeed. Perfect. And now we're going to need a door. There we go. Door in place, and boom, there we are. Now in here we are going to have oxygen. Oxygen doesn't seem to need to be piped around, and it doesn't seem that in terms of the bases that there is any need to produce that oxygen. It's just the bases are oxygenated. However, we are going to need some power, and that's why I've made this little area over here. Let's pop down the first of, once again, many wind turbines to get power going. Next up, we're going to want a drill. Let's go ahead and find a spot for you. Now, the drills, you might be inclined to think that this is going to mean that we're going to get free resources. Not yet, though there is such a drill later on. This one, though, exists primarily to increase the atmospheric pressure. I'm going to need a little bit more iron for this. You are going to go through stupid amounts of iron, and you're going to go through, frankly, obscene amounts of iron if you're anything like me and you actually like to create nice-looking structures. That is a cost for having a sense of aesthetics. I'm afraid you just have to live with that one. Right, let's go ahead and pop down a drill over here. Now, one of the nice things about the buildings in this game is power is wireless. It just is where it needs to be, which is fantastic. You just need to worry about generating it. You don't need to worry about transporting it, which is fantastic. Right, let's jump in here and put together our terraforming screen. Let's pop you right about there. I think will be lovely. Walk in the door, you get the important information. Currently, we are producing no oxygen, no heat, and a tiny bit of pressure, but that has actually started to make our terraforming index climb up, which I'm very pleased to note. Now, I am once again out of iron, and we've got a fair old bit of expanding to do, so give me just a second. Okay then, let's go ahead and start expanding things. Oh, I need to grab the titanium from inside, of course I do. Let me grab one of those, and probably go back inside there in a second to grab another one as well. Let's connect this up on the side there, perfect, and I think at least one more. This is the sort of game where you are going to do yourself a disservice in having to then tear something down later on if you try to build too cramped. You've got enormous amounts of room, and the only thing that's really getting between you and using that room is the resources needed to expand, but generally speaking, you're going to have so much of it, it's not going to be a problem. So that would be my advice. Don't just try and cram everything into a tiny, tiny little space. Now, next up, we want to craft a screen blueprints. Now, that would be quite useful, yes, but I think we're going to want something for said screen to sit on, because once again, this is me, and we can't do things the easy way. Right, we're going to need a little bit of silicon. Do I have some in there? Only a little bit, unfortunately, but that's fine. Right, let's pop the blueprint screen down here, and we will get to one of the main measures of progress in this game. You notice that my TI is going up. That's all wonderful. This is why... Oh, and on that note, there we go. Pressure has reached the point where we have unlocked the oxygen tank 2. So, the pressure, heat, oxygen, terraformation, the TI index itself, these all will unlock things at various thresholds that they reach, or rather milestones. Right now, we've unlocked the oxygen tank 2. Eventually, we'll get the compartment window. With heat, we would unlock Vegetube 2. Oxygen would unlock the indoor ladder, so you can start building vertically, heater 2, get better solar panels. There's a lot here in each one of these fields, but these aren't the only fields that will be managed in terms of the terraforming, but they're the ones that matter to us right now. Let's top up on a little bit of water. Do I have some ice around? I do. Marvelous. Right now, our crafting is still being done in the little pod. That's something I would actually like to change really soon, so I can get everything done in one place as I need. But the next points on the agenda are, in fact, heaters and veg tubes. So, what do we need to make those? We're going to need a little bit of ice, actually, and magnesium, and the crafter is just going to need a little bit of silicon, but the heater is going to need iridium and silicon. Now, we do not, as yet, have iridium available to us, so that's going to have to wait for a little bit. Let's go ahead and pop this down here. that is not going to do anything by itself. This can, well, right now it's just draining energy, and it will do that whether it's producing oxygen or not, but once you put a seed in there, it will slowly grow up. It is growing very, very slowly there, but this is going to start producing oxygen. Now, this does not produce food. For that, you need a food grower. This is a mistake that I didn't notice initially, and I was a little bit confused why I couldn't use food seeds when I found them, and we will find some. The food grower here grows food, and we're going to have to get that a fairly solid base of oxygen before we can unlock that one. So that's a bit of a pressing goal right there. But we are now starting to produce oxygen, so our TI index will start to rise a little bit faster. Now, on the topic of iridium, we are going to need to go on a bit of a wander to get that. That is not going to be found in your starting location. The starting location will vary, but it'll generally speaking start in this little valley, though you do have some options at the game start to choose a different location, but generally speaking, they're still all going to be around this area. It's from here that you will explore outwards in all sorts of different directions on the hunt for useful materials, and you will quite often find these crates lying around. Ooh, a blueprint microchip, perfect, and seeds, marvelous. I was just talking about you. We'll grab the cobalt since I don't have too much of that there right now. But this is, in fact, we're going to need lots of cobalt for what we're going to be doing next. But that is a good illustration of things to find around the world. There is more than just random resource nodes. There's a lot more than random resource nodes. Also, oh, hello. They're coming to visit early. I wasn't expecting this. Hi. On the topic of resource nodes, you might be wondering, well, what happens when you've collected everything? Don't worry. The heavens will provide. Maybe in the shell of fiery doom, but in each one of these meteorites there is in fact gear that you can go and collect. Various different impact events will carry different sorts of materials, but quite often they will bring things that you don't easily have access to normally, which is actually quite amazing. I don't know if it will hit you and kill you. I can only assume they will. There is damage in this game. You'll notice the three metrics that our character is being tracked by is oxygen, down in the bottom left, hydration, and then above that, health/hunger. Food, you don't really get hungry in this game, but you do at the same time. It's a weird one. If you fall or take any kind of damage, the heart metric goes down. But also, it's always going down a little bit. And when you eat, it gets refilled. So it's kind of a combination satiety and overall health. But these meteorites will have deposited various materials. Now, I'm not seeing any aluminium, which is a much rarer resource, but quite often they will drop rare resources as well. And you'll get little drips and drabs of those resources as a result. Oh, speaking about rare resources, I think I will take this. And I will also take the aluminium, and I will also take the super alloy. We're not actually going to be able to use these for a little while, but, you know, may as well start hoarding them right now. You can take those containers apart whenever you've emptied them, but they have to be empty before you actually deconstruct them, but it's always worthwhile doing. Now, I don't know if these asteroids can act... Ooh, wow, okay. So, on the topic of being hit by them, you can... But what I was about to say is I don't believe that they can damage buildings, thankfully, so you can just hide inside if you particularly want to. Now, you may be wondering what we do with these microchips, but while we're hiding from the impact event, we can go ahead and decode them right here. Agility boost T1, and we've got a new blueprint. I think that was it looked like a mining upgrade. To find out really what we have there, we are going to need to build one of these, though. Let's go ahead and pop this down. Well, actually, you know what? We'll pop it over here instead, I think. We'll have it right in the corner there. There we are, our little crafting station. Now, this is capable of crafting much more stuff, and now you'll see why aluminium and other resources like fabric, which is relatively rare. You're not going to find that in asteroids, unfortunately. These are used for some generally quality of life improvements. This one, though, the exoskeleton, absolutely worth us getting right now. And then installing by removing one of these and putting that in, because that is to our ability to equip mods what a backpack is to our ability to carry gear. Now, we are going to want a flashlight where we're about to go. So let's go ahead and grab all of these items. There's a bunch of stuff I want to craft. Unfortunately, we don't have what we need for the flashlight, but we do have enough for some water, and we've got enough for some extra O2. We are absolutely going to require the flashlight, though, before we head out. I would like to upgrade the oxygen tank as well, so we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of another materials run. This is pretty much the core game loop early on, but as you get further in terraforming, it becomes less of a need, and you'll start having ways to automate some of the resource gathering. Now, with our materials in hand, to upgrade the oxygen tank, in most cases you have to have created the first, or rather prior, version of that item, and then have that as an ingredient in the upgrade, which actually keeps all things being relevant all the way throughout the game. There we go, we've got everything set up, and I want another oxygen tank, please and thank you, because we are going to be going on quite a long trip. We can't take that with us, so we'll just drop that off. Grab some food as well, just in case. Have a little bit of a drink before we go. Have a little bit of a nom before we go. Now, bear in mind, food is going to be fairly easy to find out and about. Ooh, there we go. There's a rare resource I was just talking about. That over there is a little bit of aluminium. We're going to leave it there, though. I don't think they despawn, or at least I've not noticed them despawning. But food is something that you might be inclined to just leave behind, because you will find it somewhat frequently initially. But we don't have a means to grow our own food until quite a ways into the terraforming process, so I would actually caution not to just leave food behind, or if you are going to leave it behind, leave it somewhere in a container that you know to come back to. Mark it in your mind map to return there eventually. Now, we are making our way up to one of the first wrecks that we're going to find. Ooh, I will absolutely take that microchip. That is definitely worth the haul. I recommend exploring everything, not just internal structures, but also around the structures. There's a lot on this planet, and for an early access game, I was actually really surprised by just how much there is to do. I kept expecting, like I came into this with some very firm assumptions on how much there would be to it. And this game, at almost every turn, has exceeded my expectations and made me feel a little bit silly for it. Now, in here, we have one of the kind of the locks on progress that I actually really like, because it's an in-game lock. Basically, this place is frozen, and until we've done enough terraforming to heat up the atmosphere enough, these ice barriers are not going to melt. I love that as a way of, just instead of an invisible wall. I hate invisible walls. I'm completely okay with a transparent wall because it's made of ice and I need to warm it up before I can get through. Well, that's a-okay by my measure, and this is why we need the torch. But yes, I really do like it when games go out of their way. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. We'll come back there. In fact, we're going to use that as a bit of a return drop-off location. Let's grab my deconstructor. We're going to start dropping things back as we go. Grab you. I will break this down. And here we are, a heater. Now, the thing with most things in this game is you get some of the materials back that went into it. In fact, in that case, we got all of them back. I can't say I'm wearing my True Witness hat at the moment, or my True Witness robes, I should say. So I can't claim to know that you will always get everything back, but as I've witnessed so far, at least on the lower tier items, you get everything back. I am slowly suffocating, but since the oxygen tanks will restore 100% of your oxygen tank, no matter how big your oxygen tank is. Same with hydration, they will both completely restore your hydration or your air supply. Food, not so much, you'll only get some of it back. But because of the way that O2 and hydration work, I would caution to only use that when you are like right down at the bottom. We want iridium quite a lot. We will drop off the seeds. I will also drop off the cobalt. The Shanga seed, as you can see, is better than the Lerma seed, so we do want to take that back with us if we can afford to. We also want the food, realistically speaking. The super alloy isn't going to be super necessary for us for a while, so I will drop that off for things that I know I'm going to need in the here and now. Also grab that blueprint chip there. And we've got a message. Be aware that your O2 is still going down while you're reading. You can't read whilst holding your breath, apparently. Cargo ship, Cyrilla 4, machinery log, number 436. This morning, as we were in our 17th day of space travel to Stigma, the ship inexplicably exited hyperspace velocity. The navigation tools went crazy, and all of the ship's power went down, as if it was drained by something exterior. We're going to try and make an emergency landing on this unreported planet. Never land on an unreported planet. Haven't you ever watched any sci-fi horror movies? I'm not sure what we'll find there. There seems to have been a huge storm on the surface. I hope we'll make it. I suspect they did not. This was about 30 years ago, according to the date that that our message was sent. We've also got a massive open fusion... we've got a fusion reactor over here. Can't do anything with it yet. I'm not sure if we're ever going to need to. And yes, I almost died there, but shh, we're not going to talk about that. Right, this is a heater Mark II, but honestly, my inventory is now so full, I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to bring that back. So we just need to remember that it's there. And instead, make our way up here, check out what we can in these directions. Always fully explore if you have the ability to. I'm actually going to take the seed here. We want lots of oxygen. There's plenty of aluminium. We're going to be making a few runs up to this wreck to fully loot it. And it is absolutely worth fully looting. This is a fairly easy to access wreck, especially once you've got the upgraded O2 tank and you've got a decent supply of O2 canisters. Now, to illustrate the fall damage, it's relatively minor that I've seen. In before, I tried to show you how minor it is, and I straight up die. But that will also demonstrate that on standard settings, though you can make this game hardcore experience, on standard settings, death just means that you will drop some loot on the ground. You won't actually perish. It is a fairly mild impact, but do be aware that you have to restore that with food, and food is somewhat precious, so you know, throw yourself off cliffs at your own peril, quite literally in many cases. But with the iridium that we now have in our pocket, we're going to be able to build ourselves some heaters, and that is going to be very, very important. The oxygen makers and the heaters, at least the lower tier ones, all have to be built indoors, and that might actually come as a bit of a surprise. It certainly did to me. Now, we've got loads of microchips. Let's see what we got. Got level 2 agility boots. We've got a microchip compass. We've got mining speed T2. And a new blueprint received. Living compartment corner. Oh, game, you know me so well. Also, recycling machine. What's that? Breaks down objects into their core components. Alright. I imagine when it talks about objects, it means the sort of stuff that we put in our exoskeleton. Rather than anything else. We've got iron and cobalt to make windows and to have the corner, living compartment corner, iron, titanium, and cobalt. Well, you know what we must do. You know what we must do. Nevertheless, though, let's go ahead and be at least somewhat sensible. We do need to build a heater, and that's going to require iron and silicon. Did I have some? I do. And iridium. Perfect. Do I actually have enough for 2? I do. I have enough for 3. Oh, this is fantastic. I'm not going to be able to power 3. So, yeah. That's not going to go as well in our favor as I would hope. Let's pop that one right there. I don't even have enough power to power 1. Damn it. Oh, well. Pop this one there as well. Try and line it up as best I can. There you go. And then let's head on out and drop down a couple more wind turbines. So I've got to go and grab the iron. That would probably be helpful. Thankfully, I did manage to stockpile a little bit before we went out. So it's not going to be too rough on us to get all of this set back up. There we go. And probably have another one right in the middle there, I would say. There we go. We've got power restored. But I'm going to go ahead and build out the rest as well, just to make sure that we're not going to have to run into that problem in a little while. There we go. On that note, it might actually be very useful for us to be able to see easily how much power I have available. I'm going to need a little bit of magnesium. Of course, I don't have it. Scallywags. Let's see. Is there any easy magnesium to grab? Did the meteorites deposit any magnesium nearby? I can see a couple of bits over there. Oh, thank goodness, right there. Okay, no need for a time lapse here then, because I'm not going to go on a big magnesium run. We don't have the storage space yet for that, but eventually you're probably going to want storage containers for each resource and keep them topped up at all times. But let's pop down the power display. Right about here will do. And now we can see exactly how much power we have available at all times. That's actually super, super useful. I'm going to go outside, though, and I'm going to place down another drill. I would very much like to start getting our TI up a little bit faster, getting a bit more pressure added to the atmosphere. Certainly going to help. Now, let's go and have a look at how things are progressing with that. We're bringing in 0.4 NPA. 0.15 ppq in terms of oxygen and 0.6 pk per second for heat. Okay, well, one thing we can do to immediately improve that is swap out that plant. We'll now be bringing in 0.23, but we want a couple more of those. How much were they going to cost to make? Ice, iron, and magnesium. You know how I said there wasn't going to be a time cut? I may have fibbed. Okay, let's get some more oxygen being produced then. So we'll pop that one there. I will then add another one. Oh, actually, I've got to grab the iron. I had to do a little bit of inventory juggling because I was carrying a little bit too much. Let's pop this one here. Thankfully, these don't consume too much energy, so we should be fine for a little while. There we go. And now, do we have enough plants? We do. Perfect. This will get oxygen going really nicely. And oxygen is probably one of the more important things because, as I mentioned, this is how you're going to unlock the food grower. We need to get to that as soon as we can because once we get there, we're generally going to be okay. In terms of the atmospheric water collector, I wouldn't worry about that one because there's plenty of ice. There's plenty of ice until the point where you're going to unlock the atmospheric water collector because by then you're going to have heated up the atmosphere probably enough that most of the ice is going to have melted and then you can just start extracting water from the atmosphere. But generally speaking, the pace of upgrades does give you room to breathe. Literally in some cases. Right, we're going to pop a window in there because why not have a beautiful window looking out there? We can even put some lights outside as well, but I would very much like to have a look at this. I'm going to need a little bit more iron and cobalt for that. Let's go and see what this will look like. I'm going to have a bit of a problem down there, I think, but let's pop you in. I'm going to need some more scaffolding. Let's go and drop off some of these supplies. Look, okay, again, this is me. I'm going to spend time making things look good. It's just the way I am. Let's see. Can I pop that there? Sadly I can't. That's in the way, unfortunately. So I'm going to just have to build out and around it. On the other hand, I could just kind of squeak that in there. Will that irritate me? Kinda does, but it also sort of lines up, so it almost doesn't, but it totally bothers me and I can't get rid of this. The frustration. I'm gonna try and learn to love this as hard as I can, but I can't promise anything. Right, now when are we gonna get a better power source? We are going to want solar for that, and that is actually very, very soon. Marvelous. We could probably help it out a little bit more with some more heat as well. How much are we going to need for that? We need iron, silicon. We've got no iron, but we do have the silicon and the iridium. So let's go and grab a little bit of iron. Let's get another heater down. Can I just squeeze that in there and make it look like it was intentional? I think I might be able to. Boom. Perfect. Glorious, in fact. You now need to move, though, because being there does not look quite as good as it used to. Let's instead pop you right here. And I know it's over a scene, but it's fine. Look at the view. Oh, I need to turn my torch off so you can properly have a look at the view. Okay, I'm liking it. But we could probably fit in a little bit more storage. At this point, we might even want to consider... I wonder, we could even perhaps have a big viewing gallery. Might make it some sort of feature piece. I like where we're going with this all of a sudden. But I need to go out and grab some more cobalt so we can make some better energy collectors. And again, number go big. You're going to be upgrading materials, machines, or simply building more of them on the regular, at least in the early game. Later game, you're going to get very, very powerful components that take enormous amounts of resources to make, and you're going to have less of them. You're going to transition towards quality over quantity as you progress through the game. But early on, it's all about quantity. Ah, perfect. I have turned a source of great shame into a feature that gives me great pride. Mission success. If that indeed was my mission, I actually still need to go and find things for the solar panels. It's fine. No one needs to breathe when they've got a base that looks this good. It is quite nice when you can, though. Right, I need something to drink as well. Oh, I'm going to have to move things around now. Okay, well, it's fine. I'm okay with this. We do have the materials we need, though, to set up the solar panels. So, let's go ahead and decommission you. And instead, replace you with a solar array. When are we going to... we're going to angle this so that they're facing somewhat like that. And unfortunately, the solar panels do not track. So we're just going to have to do our best with that. It does make me a little bit sad, but oh well. Let's get a couple more of these down. Again, solar panels produce 6.5 energy a second, whereas wind turbine only produces 1.2. These are fantastically more efficient. There we are. Lovely. We should now have plenty of energy to play with. Yes, we've got a stupid amount of energy to play with now. That means a stupid amount of oxygen generation and or a stupid amount of heat generation. Let's have a look. We've got the Veg Tube 2. Marvelous. Takes a lot more energy than the base version, but produces a lot more oxygen. So with that in mind, first you've got to remove this. Again, you can't ever take something down if it's got something in it. But we want to make you. I'm going to need a little bit more ice and some more silicon. Got silicon and got ice. Marvelous. Okay, well, we'll start from this. Well, do we want to do that? That is a good question. Actually, I think I want the veg tubes to be in here, just running along this seam. Oh, can I not build them in there? Oh, they're a bit too tall. Okay, well, fair enough then. I guess we'll have them running along this wall. Maybe I could build the heaters in there and then have the veg tubes going along the outside. Oh, that would be perfect if that works. Either way, let's get this... Actually, let's pop one of the better ones in there since I'm moving things around a bit. But we're going to then move around the heaters and just see if I can't make this look beautiful. Gorgeous. Am I supposed to be doing something far more important? Yes. Am I sad about the fact that I'm not? No. They knew what they were getting into when they sent me to terraform the planet, the fools. Nevertheless, we have unlocked a couple of things. So let's go and have a look. We've got backpack size 3. We've now got indoor ladders. Perfect. I am very, very happy with that. But we do still need quite a lot of materials. Also, I kind of want a door over here so that I can get out the base in that direction. I think that would probably be quite a wise move. What do I need for a door? I need silicon. Okay, well, that's fine. We're also going to need some scaffolding out the side so that I can enter the base from that direction. Having lots of different ways into the base is, honestly just, more sensible than just for aesthetics, simply because... Oh, can I not do that? Ah, sadness. However, I can put one there, so I guess that will do. But having multiple ways in is going to keep you from killing yourself. Basically, if I'm rushing over here because I'm almost out of air and I have to walk around the structure and that's what kills me, it will be a little bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie. If you notice the TI index and how quickly it's rising, it is going up a lot faster than it used to. On the inside, we now have room. Ooh, I could even turn that into a... Ooh. I've got to hold myself back. At some point, you have to just say, no, no, no. You can't have everything being smooth corners and windows. You've got to have some walls that you can stick things on. Either way, though. At this point, I think, other than the backpack, we're going to need to start thinking about heading out and doing some proper exploration. This requires 2 aluminium, 1 silicon. We should be able to put that together without too much issue. And I may even consider putting the exoskeleton together as well. Can I just squeeze this in here? I would rather save the space on either side for more cargo containers. I think that would be ideal. Is that slightly to the side? Am I imagining that? I can't be imagining that. No, no, no. Let's make sure that you are in fact facing directly forward, please and thanks. Let's make sure I'm actually in the right spot. There, I think that's a little bit better. We've only got 1 aluminium, sadly, but we know where there's plenty more. So this does feel to me like a reason to go on a bit of an exploration expedition. I'm just going to go grab some more water, top up my hydration, have a spare, and grab a little bit more oxygen, and I shall return to you with the spoils from our endeavors. Also, we can make heater too. Oh, I'm going to have to redesign the base again, aren't I? Work never ends for an Aavak. Okay, with an inventory full of oxygen and a little bit of water, actually we'll take a little bit more water and probably also fill up on food. We're off, and I've actually redesigned it out here. I'll probably set up another extension with the scaffolding there for us to place other items. But we're not going to go up to that spaceship. No, no, no. There's much more to this planet to discover. And another thing to discover is over there, over there, over there. Actually, there's stuff all over the place. Do not be afraid, unless you're running out of air, to go and explore any geological formation that looks a little bit strange, like that one over there. And since we need titanium, that's kind of where we're going. But first, I figured we'd go poke our nose into this crash ship, because it's going to uncover a couple of other things. Now, look around the landscape and you'll notice that, you know, there's quite a lot of silhouettes. It's a little bit hard to see things because the atmosphere doesn't make it very easy on us. As the terraforming continues apace and the atmosphere gets a little bit clearer, you can sort of see a hint of something over there. If I turn my head just so, you can see where the lighting system creates some glitched artifacts. But as the atmosphere clears up, you will start seeing more and more stuff around to explore. Again, I love the fact that the game, it doesn't strictly gate your progress. If you're particularly nosy and want to just wander around and have a look, you can totally find these things without needing the atmosphere to clear up to make things easier to spot. But, ooh, Seed Pesterer. I will 1000% take these, yes. We'll leave that one there for now, because we're actually out here for other things. And I'm going to need to collect quite a lot more of them, and my oxygen is getting low. But I really do love the fact that the game, kind of in an in-universe way, gates the progress in some ways. I think that's marvellous. Absolutely fantastic. Right, I definitely need to grab some oxygen. That clears up some room in my inventory, which is great. I will take you. I will drop the iron. I will then take the food. I will drop this because we've got much better seeds. Ah, good times. Lots of stuff in the way in here, though, so let's continue on through. I hope this is coming through okay on YouTube, because sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to be honest. YouTube does like to make videos a lot darker, and so when they're already dark, it can make them almost unviewable. Which, you know, you got to wonder, why, YouTube? You had one job: to make things viewable. It's literally your purpose. Alright, we're going to exchange that seed there for another item. I do want the aluminium here. I'm going to drop the food off, I guess. I'll just drink the water, me as well. But I will take the... In fact, we're probably... I'll just drop the water. Maybe I'll need it at some point. Actually, I should put it in there rather than drop it on the ground. Just, wait, where's that? Oh, there we go. Phew. Things will roll around a bit, you'll notice. Any other aluminium over here? Yes, a little bit more aluminium. And some more iridium. I will grab the food, though. And we're going to make our way out. We can always come back and tear that down to gain access to the iridium there, if we want. But whilst we've got a inventory full of oxygen, we might as well go for a little bit more of a wander. Now, talking about places you can explore, totally worth exploring up there, especially for super alloys. You know, kind of a word to the wise. Not down there, but up there. Make your way into the cliffs. You might have to go all the way through in order to do that, because it's not easy to access from the outside. But in terms of just places where aluminium is easy to come by, this is where you want to be headed early on. Now, I don't believe you can see too far because of the atmosphere right now, but there's other structures all over the place, and they become much more visible against the skyline as things change. Now, in this area, as much as I've praised the game in a lot of other ways, I do kind of dislike what's about to happen to the atmosphere as we enter this area. It just artificially makes it green and dark and blue. Not a big fan of that, if I'm going to be honest with you. I prefer that if an area is going to be dark, then make it dark for an in-game reason. You know, don't just artificially try and make it look spooky by making it darker. You know, unless there is some sort of heavy industrial smog around. Is this London? Ooh, maybe. But unless there is some sort of actual reason for it to get dark, don't just randomly make it get darker. That just seems silly. Let's go in here. We've got a little bit of aluminium there. I can drop off... Is there anything I really... I can drop off the food, I guess, for now, since I know where it's going to be. Also, I'm about to need a little bit more oxygen, but I am out here looking for aluminium, and so you may as well grab a bunch while you can. There's another wreck there. There are wrecks everywhere, and there's a lot more interesting stuff in them than just aluminium or rare resources. There are messages as well, and those are actually quite important to pick up, because that's where you start to put together the actual story in the game. It does have a story. Right, okay, we've got loads of aluminium. Let's drop those off. In fact, I kind of want to do something else with that, but first, yoink, yoink, there we go, and we'll do the same with you. Switch that up, and this one can be switched up as well. And let's go and have a look at how our oxygen is doing now. That is so much better. Really, game? Do you need to embarrass me in front of the internet? Rude. Right, let's go ahead and find out what we got over here. A new mining speed chip. I'm not really dedicated time to getting the mining chips together. Perhaps I should, actually. And on that note, maybe I should have a look at what's involved in getting the compass. Magnesium, silicon, and 2 aluminium. We're not going to be doing that. But... ooh, super alloy over there. But we can now get the backpack, and that is 1000% with... damn it. Okay, I'm going to have to brave the outside and hopefully not get smacked in the face by a meteor. If I die, know that I died pursuing a worthwhile goal, and that is an expanded inventory. If only all deaths were as noble. Now, you're not always going to have to contend with meteorites either. As you terraform the planet and the atmosphere gets more dense, then more meteorites are just going to burn up upon the entry, or rather entry, if they're not from here. So you're not going to have to constantly be looking skyward and worrying about that. I totally made the wrong thing, but it's fine. We now need a little bit more aluminium. Let's grab these. Also take the backpack out. Haha. Almost did a silly. Let's drop these off. Top the supplies back in there. There we go. Now remove the backpack and see if I can't make you... Oh, did I only have a level... I only had a level 1 backpack the whole time. Well, now don't I feel the fool? Let's go ahead and upgrade this. So this is going to be quite a hefty upgrade for us then. And then, of course, let's grab these and then upgrade to a backpack level 3. Oh, this is fantastic. Marvelous, in fact. Look at all the space. Truly, we are blessed. Do I have... I don't have any fabric. I was going to say, do I have enough aluminium to make the agility boots? We do, and that would make dodging meteorite impacts significantly easier, but sadly, we don't have everything else we would need. I could perhaps make a mining speed chip, and since I don't usually make it, you know what? Sure, well, for science, so let's find out if it's actually worth it, if it makes any appreciable difference. And here we go, back to home sweet home, and a much better storage situation, though honestly the labels make it a little bit hard to see what we've got there, but you could easily turn them around so the labels weren't even visible if you preferred. Now, with that in mind, I've now got a dedicated chest for iron, because we're going to need stupid amounts of it no matter what happens, and then 2 chests for common ores, and still I'm going to end up with quite a lot in my inventory. We can now get an oxygen tank 3 though, and that is going to require aluminium, iron, and silicon. So let's grab the iron, grab the silicon, and then the rare chest over here, which isn't probably going to have too much in it most of the time. And then we just need to take out the oxygen tank. This is actually a pretty solid amount of progress at this point, I must say. I'm actually very, very happy with it. Let's have a quick look. We've got heater number 2, and I should probably look into that one right away. We're not that far off getting solar panel T2. And we've got the screen progress. You know what? We should probably throw that one up just so that we can see how that's going. We've also got drill 2. Now, you might notice that drill 2 doesn't only produce pressure, it also produces heat. Not very much of it, granted, and it does take quite a lot more energy than the regular drill. But if you have a look at the regular drill, that requires 0.5 energy and produces 0.2 pressure a second. The drill 2 requires 5 energy, so 10 times as much, produces 1.5 pressure and a little bit of heat, but does only require basic materials. Titanium and iron is actually really, really nice. This requires more or less everything we've got there, but with the addition of aluminium and an extra iridium. It is quite an amazing one, though, if we can get up to that. Do we want to go for that? Or do we even have the means to? I guess I could swap out 2 of them. If we have a look at how much heat they produce, for an increase of 3.5 times the amount of energy. Well, actually, no, not 3.5 times, but 3.5 versus 1, and it generates more than 10 times as much heat. So 2 of these, very much worth the swap. So let's go ahead. Do we have the aluminium? We do. Let's grab that into my inventory, and we're just going to go ahead and demolish 2 of these. Unless they don't look good, in which case they're going back. I'm also going to need 1 titanium. There we go. Let's get this set up. Oh, wow, you are significantly larger, but you do fit into the space, which means I could replace those 2 with it as well. Ah, gloriousness. I approve most severely. A severe level of approval. Not just a lot of approval, not a good level of approval, it's a severe level of, a practically obscene level of approval, frankly. You wouldn't want to talk about this level of approval in polite company. But we'll see if we can just make it look like that pipe is joined up. We can. I am way too happy about that. I really shouldn't be. Right, so we are now generating staggering amounts more heat, and if you notice up in the terraforming index, that is going up very, very quickly. And I think with that, this is going to be a good place for us to wrap up this episode. I really do hope you've enjoyed it and it has put this game on your radar if it wasn't already. In fact, on that note, if you do intend to pick up the game or you have seen it before and you have any feedback on my current progress, then do let me know down in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more than just a first taste of this game, perhaps leave a like as well. But that is going to be it from me and from Planet Crafters. I really do hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.